Hola Bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic Official. I'm Magic Mel. This is my angel Charles, and in the background is my cat Pancho. I just need to open the door for him 1 second. He's not usually up here. Welcome to episode 11 of season 10. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to record this video because up to a moment I had a bad stomach. And on Friday, I had a detour. I can be quite extreme in my pursuits. So something came over me on Friday where I started to play basketball, and then this girl approached me, hey, do you want to practice as part of the team? And I'm like, ooh, I've already played for like almost 2 hours, but yeah, let's do that too. So I did another hour of super hard training, and then the big detour happened. I went to my local bar. I haven't been there for like a month, and it just completely derailed from there. Then the next day I was out, muscle pain, didn't feel well, my moon cycle, and I was just reflecting the past few days. That given plus everything that's happening in the world, and it's difficult to shut it out and close our eyes. So I've been asking myself a lot of questions and zooming in and zooming out and trying to understand. As you know, I always like to see the macrocosm in relation to the microcosm, the world outside as a reflection of our inner world. And yeah, the chaos exists out there. The destruction exists out there. I just looked on Wikipedia earlier, also just on, list of genocides. Wikipedia lists 44 genocides just in the modern history. And then I looked up, well, how many current conflicts are there actually? And the Geneva Academy lists 110 current armed conflicts, including everything from wars, civil wars, insurgencies, drug wars, and ethnic clashes. So I asked myself, well, where do I stand with all of this? It seems like no one really does not have blood on their hands if we look back into history up to now. And the oppressed is becoming the oppressor, and the role reversals, and this entire cycle of being caught up in the revenge, violence, aggression, anger, revenge, violence, aggression, anger cycle continues. So I asked myself, well, how do I fit in? Because there was a danger of feeling powerless regarding the overwhelming scenario out there. And personally, well, I could say from my family lineage alone, I come from the oppressor and the oppressed. I have Polish blood, I have German blood, I have Spanish blood, I have Malay blood, I have Chinese blood. And this polarity played out in my immediate family, this culture clash, which left me also, I guess, like a normal teenager in conflict with myself. But putting it back into present day context and zooming in to Friday after I did something that I've told myself, well, I wouldn't really do, and not out of thinking that I'm better than other people, But a while ago, I shared with you, that it doesn't really serve me anymore to go out and drink. And by drinking, I had 4 drinks on Friday, but that was already too much for me. But I'm always curious. I never these days condemn myself. Rather than doing that, I'm inquisitive, like, okay, how did this happen? Why did this happen? And you might say, okay, I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. But for me, it really does run deeper because I try to be intentional, conscious about my choices. So I ask myself, well, where did this come from? And yeah, partially a kind of need to belong, to tune out, to relax. But then I asked myself, well, took you 2 days to get back on track. Okay, apart from the training, too much training, apart from my moon cycle, but still, I ask you to ask yourself about the things and actions and behaviors that still serve me. I ask myself the same. So, does this still serve me? And in what ways, it led to the question, what ways am I still being violent against myself? And that is a question that links me to the outer world, the violence that I see. How am I myself being violent against myself? And that can take such subtle forms. Because what is normal is just familiar. I watched a lot of videos on Gabor Mate, and he's just amazing. Such a compassionate and really wise and rational human being. And he wrote the book, The Myth of Normal. Like, there is nothing, or let's say very little normal that is out in society, in what we know, in the old paradigm, so to speak. Moreover, the society we are engaging with is traumatizing, and we've just normalized it. So there is those who are in direct conflict, in direct war zones, in direct outer violence, and then there is a lot of us who are in our inner conflict, where there is an internalized oppressor and an internalized oppressed. And I really asked myself this question, well, what can I do as I'm mirrored this darkness, my detours that I take, that detour me out of my own energy and take me into an unconscious path, and the dark reflection that I see outside, the violent reflection. Maybe not in my immediate surrounding, but the world is small nowadays, isn't it? So I came to the conclusion the only way out is to create. And I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but looking deeper into what's happening, yes, there is a war on consciousness. Because once we become conscious, and that comes hand in hand with our healing, we create. As long as we're traumatized, we won't even have the physical, mental, psychological, emotional capacity to really create from free will, because we're too enmeshed in our own wounding. Physical, literal, emotional, psychological. It's taking up too much space. We cannot be there. We cannot create something new. So the old paradigm is keeping us in this trauma cycle. And there is a lot of us who are doing the healing work me included. And I really feel that is where the responsibility comes in, the ability to respond more and not to fall back into reaction out of the wounding. It is a privilege. So, as an artist, but I feel everyone, because we're all creative beings, but in my case, as an artist, my response will be to create more. Remember the never ending story, the darkness threatening to swallow up Fantasia? Well, the darkness in our world threatening to swallow everything up. Well, those of us who are healing and are regaining our power, our creative, true creative power that comes from free will, not from ideology, not from old programming, but a liberated will. I feel that is where a lot of the hope lies. Because, again, I bring it back to myself. I can choose where I put my attention. And this was also something I was struggling with over the past few days, because putting my attention into what I want to create does not mean that I'm not aware of what's going on. I don't want to put a blind eye on the suffering. At the same time, I want to focus on what I can do. So, sharing my story, sharing stories in general that uplift, putting my energy into new imagery, taking care of my own state of being, not adding more turmoil into the external world, maintaining the safe haven of peace within me, and bringing that energy into every interaction I encounter, using my word in an uplifting way, being conscious of what I consume, where I put my energy, my attention, my money into, being conscious of my thoughts, being very aware that my thoughts and my emotions do create something new. All of that empowers me. And I want to remember myself that if one human being can be really this powerful, how much more an entire community, an entire movement of people who already exist, who have similar intention and a similar vision. So my point is reminding you and reminding me not to fall into passivity, into apathy, into hopelessness, into powerlessness, but to remind ourselves that the light is more powerful than darkness, because darkness needs to feed on itself and is not connected to source. That is where I want to put my energy. And really look inward. Where am I myself still obfuscating or holding back my own light? Because whatever is blocking my own light is adding to the darkness out there. And I'm not saying that. When I speak about the light, I mean the light that is in every one of us that we just need to reconnect with and bring out. But I can only speak for myself and my responsibility to myself. My responsibility for myself and to others. So my responsibility is to shine my light as bright as I can. going to show you a drawing that I made the day after I really had this resurrection, which was on the 15th of January 2021. This is the first drawing I made. Passing through the eye of the needle. This was my transformation. This is the amount of darkness, the amount of pain, the void I was carrying. And I was able to transmute it. So we're all able to do this. Gabor Mate quotes Dr. Peter Levine talking about the wound. And again, the trauma is not only what happened to us, the situation, the circumstance that traumatized us, but what happened as a result of that, which is the disconnection from ourself. And ourself goes in parallel with the divine. That's why it's so important to reconnect with ourselves, to heal ourselves, to realize, yes, I am this individual being, but I'm also connected to Source. And I'm one expression of many of the one universal God Source. So this is where I stand with everything, guys. It's not easy, I feel, for a lot of us, but I want to go back to joy and magic. And that might seem almost obscene and offensive, no? Looking at what's going on out there. But I want to create what I want to see in the world. I want to see more joy. I want to see more love. I want to see more creative expression. I want to see more authenticity. And what does that mean? I got to do it and be it myself first. Because we cannot expect the world to reflect something back to us that we ourselves are not willing to give. And let's remember that joy is the frequency of what is to come. So I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm going to double down on my projects. And being, again, very aware of the time in the human body and the preciousness of life, how fragile life is. And at the end of the day, no one is going to judge us. We're going to judge ourselves. So I sometimes project myself forward into the 111-year-old magic Mel, and I look back and I want to be satisfied with what I've created. So I ask myself every day, what are you creating? Where are you putting your attention, your energy, your emotions, your time? Because that's how we create. What are you believing? That's how we create. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. And I think I still have energy. I want to connect with you, so I'm going to pull some cards in the next episode. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, if you haven't switched off. For those of you new on my channel, this is where I share my own spiritual journey and my insights as they come at every step of the way. It's an ongoing unfolding, and the process never ends, just like the healing process or the ascension process or the individuation process doesn't end, because there's more and more and more to integrate, more shadows to look at, more shadows to bring in. I'm happy to have had you here. See you for episode 11 coming up right after this one. Ciao, bandidos.